Welcome to the Heidi Thorne Show. I'm your host, Heidi Thorne, and in this podcast, I share my real-world self-publishing and small business experience with you. So let's get started with today's show. Maybe it's because I network with a lot of women, but I get, either personally or here, a lot of questions floating about doing children's books. A lot of these women are creative moms, and they feel that their experience as a mom enables them to write a children's book. Nothing could be farther from the truth. It seems easy enough, right? Maybe a few words, simple language, some great pictures, and you're good to go. Doesn't work like that. There are several issues that you will need to deal with when you are writing and self-publishing children's books. The first one is age appropriateness. Kids grow fast. And if you're a parent, whether you're a mom or a dad, I don't have to tell you how fast kids grow and mature, both physically, emotionally, and intellectually. Here's the problem that I see happening with a lot of authors, is that when they say children's book, they think it's a picture book and they think it's for little kids. That could be, but children's books go all the way from preschool up to YA, or young adult fiction. That covers a wide range of ages and intellectual maturity. So that's one of the first things you're going to have to deal with, is figuring out what age of kids you want to write for. Similarly, reading grade level changes dramatically, sometimes from year to year, sometimes within a year. Here's where authors go astray with that too. They don't do any readability testing if they are self-publishing. They just think it has to be a kid's book, so they don't really put a lot of thought into grade level. When you self-publish on Kindle Direct Publishing, there is a question for grade level for reading, and you should be able to answer that. If you want to see what your draft of your children's book is in terms of grade level, you would put it through what's called the Flesch-Kincaid Readability Index. There are those testing services online, so do check that out, because you want to know if what you're writing is going to be understandable by the audience who will be reading it. So let's circle back to the picture book situation. And this also deals with age appropriateness and reading level. Again, a children's book does not automatically mean it's a picture book. Kids start to grow out of picture books pretty early. I remember when I was in 3rd, 4th grade, I didn't want to see picture books. I wanted to read the big kids' books. So there comes a point, probably faster than you might imagine, where kids just aren't interested in picture books because they think it's kind of babyish. Oh, I'm older than that. I'm a big kid. The other thing with picture books is that they are extremely expensive to produce, unless you are an author illustrator. If you have those skills, that's fantastic. But even if you do have those skills, you also need to have publishing standard skills, meaning that you need to know how to produce those picture books. And usually they're in color, And that requires a whole new skill set of graphic design activities. So don't just presume because you can draw a cute picture that you can automatically illustrate a book. Self-published authors often don't have those skills. They don't have the illustration skills, and so they farm it out. Again, because they have no idea who their audience is usually in terms of age reading level. They'll have the designer create these massively beautiful artist renderings, which are very expensive, and then it might not even be appropriate for their book. And let's circle back one more time regarding the age appropriateness issue. Because there's quite a wide range of age and reading levels, the content of the book is also probably going to be very different. In a YouTube video I did with Lauren Darnell, who crowdfunded her children's book project, and she's very professional at doing that, she talks about how themes for younger children are one way, and then as they mature into young adult, then you can have more mature themes. Again, you just have to know who the actual reading audience is for the book. So I would suggest that you go back and watch that video with Lauren so that you can get an idea of what's appropriate for younger audiences. The other thing is that marketing children's books is very difficult. Typically, children will not buy their own books. So the book has to appeal to the parent as a great read for their child. Also, you will never want to directly market to children. That is such a minefield of legalities. Just don't go there. And because some of these things are so difficult for what appears to be such a simple book, you really need a team to put a children's book together. The first thing you will probably want to scope out in terms of help is a children's book editor. Don't just get any editor who does everything from adult books to kids' books. You want one that specializes in kids' books because they understand what material is appropriate and what reading level might be appropriate for your work. The other thing you're going to want is the advice of an attorney in terms of how you can avoid some very touchy, tricky issues in the marketing of your book. That would be someone who deals with intellectual property, and especially if you can get one that understands children's book marketing and children's books, that would be astounding. But I wouldn't do it without some help. And some authors realize that they need all this help, and then they decide to go with their children's book the traditional publishing route, where they have an army of people to handle all of these issues. You lose some control of the whole book, of course, and you might not make as much money as if you did it on your own, but to have that professional help with you, that is really a benefit. And it may take a while if you go the traditional publishing route. And you have to have something that's very special. You may also want to have an agent that specializes in marketing children's books to publishers for traditional book deals, because they also will have a great idea of whether your work is appropriate or not. So I hope I've discouraged you from doing a children's book if you're not prepared for all of this. And I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please rate, review, and subscribe to The Heidi Thorne Show on whatever podcast platform you like to get your audio podcasts on. I'm on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and Stitcher and Google Podcasts and Podbean and Amazon's TuneIn Radio. So I'm in a lot of different places, and those are just a few of them. If you like the YouTube video better, that's great. You just have to subscribe to my Heidi Thorne YouTube channel and turn on the notifications so that you get an alert when a new video is available. I would appreciate it if you would share The Heidi Thorne Show with your author friends on social media. And if you want to see my self-published books, of which there are no children's books, and I have no plans to do so at any time in the future, so it's just for you adults out there. I am on Amazon, Audible, and Apple Books. All you have to do is search for my author name, Heidi Thorne, go to my author page, and you'll see all the books listed there. If you want to connect with me, my website is very simply HeidiThorne.com. Thank you so much for listening and for your support. I'll look forward to talking with you again in the next episode, and in the meantime, have a great day.